A massive scammer tool has been taken down. Genesis Marketplace has been taken down by a joint task force led by the FBI and the Dutch police. It was considered one of the most dangerous marketplaces and available through the surface web. You didn't even need to go on the dark web to get access to it. It was invitation only, so it was hidden by this veil of secrecy. The tool has been seized, so access has now been denied. What an operation. It was called Operation Cookie Monster. What a great name for it, but a great result. 208 properties were searched and there were 119 arrests. So Genesis Marketplace was a way to buy bots, which was essentially access to machines which had malware on them, which would capture information from that machine that would enable bad guys, scammers, hackers to access some of your critical tools. There was 2 million identities found. Those identities were also sold with access to a browser which would mimic the individual's machines, which meant that it would mimic things like the location, the browser type, the operating system, essentially the whole fingerprint of that browser that was being used by the infected machine to access critical systems. The cost of these bots ranged from 70 cents all the way up to hundreds of dollars for access to these systems. The other really scary thing and why it was super dangerous was also that if the user's credentials or the information that was captured using this malware had changed, the user of that bot or the person who bought access to that bot would be notified of that change of credentials. Other information that was made available using the tool were things like autofill information, there were things like cookies made available, the general fingerprint, as I mentioned, of the actual browser were all harvested and maintained and kept up to date for the user that had bought access to the bot. But one thing we do know is that once these tools get taken down, the big risk is that you'll find another 5 or 6 of the exact same thing coming out from other hackers, other bad guys, other criminals, because once one is proven to be successful, this is a significant marketplace, a significant tool. You're going to find many others springing up that provide the similar services or same level of functionality and tools. So what do you need to do about this? What can you do to solve the problem if you feel like you've been breached? So firstly, there's been a tool provided by the Dutch police you can enter your email address into, and they will email you back to notify you whether you're part of the breach. If you have been breached, notify third parties, so significant third parties like your bank. You need to change your password, but don't do that until you've run antivirus on your system to make sure you've cleaned off any malware that might be there that might be stealing that password that you changed. You don't want to be in a situation where you've got a false sense of security thinking your password has changed, but it's already been leaked again. Other things you can do to prevent it from happening in the future, of course, is to do things like enable multi-factor authentication. We did a video about some tools being able to circumvent multi-factor authentication, but it's just another barrier to get in the way of the attackers that makes it more difficult for them, so you absolutely need to do it. Unique passwords per site is really critical. Make sure you are running antivirus, you're patching your systems, all the typical controls we talk about all the time in these videos. But in this one in particular, my suggestion would be that you make sure you're doing proactive monitoring to look for these anomalies because the tool was designed to circumvent those controls in place to detect the obvious signs that the bad guy is accessing your account, not you. So for business-based systems, make sure that you've got somebody monitoring these systems proactively to look at that deviation, because a human's going to do a much better job than the tools will do that you have in place today.